What's up? My name's Clint. I'm with CGC Cerakote. Today we're taking apart a AR-15 and kind of wanted to show you how to do that step by step. We're going to take this apart, we're going to Cerakote it, and then we're going to do another follow-up video on reassembling this particular AR. We're going to start with the upper and then we'll go to the lower for disassembly. Here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is take off the optic because we're not Cerakoting the optic. Torx bit, take that off. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is take off this Foregrip. We're going to need a flathead screwdriver for this particular one. Loosen this nut. Slide right off. There we go. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is remove the bolt carrier group. This one's a side charging, and there's an Allen key or Allen screw right in the center of that. So I'm going to need to unscrew that charge handle before I can move forward. Got a 5/32 T-handle Allen. Just going to unscrew this guy. Just like that. This guy should slide right out. Now if you notice we're getting a stop right here, it's because of this guy right here. So we'll need to unscrew this. From the back of the upper receiver. It's unscrewed. Now your BCG is slide right out. Okay, so you'll notice this is a 2 Vets Arms Co. Upper receiver. 2VA15 is the model, but it's a little different than your standard mil-spec charge handle that comes from the back, like that. C2VA. So that's why we're kind of doing this video. It's a little different. Anyway, the next step we're going to do is we're going to remove this bottom rail from the upper receiver. Okay, so the next step is we're going to remove this from the handguard. We're going to need a T15 Torx. So we'll just loosen this. We'll loosen this. Side first. And then we can loosen this side. It's going to pop out just like that on both sides. Now that this piece is out, this handrail is going to slide right off the barrel nut, just like so. I recommend putting all your small pieces in a little bag to keep them kind of categorized. This will make reassembly a lot easier. All right, for this next part, you need a vise and a Geisley reaction rod. Well, you don't have to use Geisley, but reaction rod for the AR-15, not the AR-10. The AR-10 is much bigger. So this piece of the reaction rod fits into right here, where your bolt head for your bolt carrier group goes into. So you just slide this on, and you can lock it into whatever angle you need to work on the upper receiver at. The next step, we're going to take this off the muzzle device, and we're going to use our Magpul armor's wrench. This little spot right here is going to go on these two flat areas right here. Slide it over the barrel, line it up. Make sure you have it lined up perfectly, like that. You'll feel it go into place. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. And unthread that sucker. Sometimes they can be a little difficult. Okay, the next step is we're going to remove this roll pin so that we can pull the gas tube out. We're not Cerakoting the barrel, so there's really no point in taking the gas block out. So I'm just going to tap this out, make sure it's locked in. Next, I'm going to pull the gas tube forward and then out, just like that. Okay, for the next step, we're going to take off the barrel nut. You'll need your barrel nut wrench. Slip it over there, connect it to your 1/2 inch driver, and just put your pressure on it and take off the barrel. Now your barrel should just slide right out. So whenever you're taking this out, if it gets a little snug, don't be afraid to use your nylon hammer and give it some light taps to kind of drive that receiver back a little bit. Just help it. You shouldn't have to do that, but if you do, it's not going to hurt anything. And like I said, light taps. You should need to waylay this thing. Anyway, now your receiver is completely disassembled. Now we're going to the lower receiver. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is remove the buttstock from the buffer tube. And you'll want to overextend this. See how it normally goes just down that far? We want to go past that point so that it can't lock onto the buffer tube, and then pull it out like that. We're going to set this aside because we're going to disassemble that in a minute. The next step, I like to start from the front and work my way back. What I want to do is take the 1/16 punch, put it in this hole. I'm going to depress the spring and the detent down so that I can rotate this pin. And then I'm going to pinch my fingers like this as I pull that spring out, because that detent is under tension and it's going to try to fly out. So here we go. Show you what I'm talking about. Rotate it like that. Now it's not captured anymore. Pull this out. There's my detent. There's my pin. And there's my spring. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is take out our bolt release. And for this particular one, it is a Torx screw that goes in, not your standard mil-spec pin, roll pin that goes back and forth. Typically, you would take your tapered punch and drive the pin out, but this particular receiver is a completely different deal. So I got to use my extension, my T9 Torx head. This is all mini stuff, mini tools. It fits in there. I'll have to take this screw out. Looks like it's already coming out. You see that screw coming out right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and leave that in. That way when we Cerakote it, nothing gets in those threads. Next, you want to take out your plunger and the spring. Typically just tap it out, but those go in that little hole right there. This is where that screw was that held in that bolt catch. Okay, the next step I'm going to do is remove the mag catch. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take my 5/32 punch, put it on this bolt head right here, I'll depress it like so and rotate this side counterclockwise like so until it's completely loose like so. Spring button will come out the other side like this, and now your mag catch is out. The next step, you're going to need a 3/16 T-handle, and we're going to take out the screw that's inside of the grip that holds the grip onto the receiver. Now, whenever I take this out, keep in mind you're going to have the safety detent and spring underneath this grip, at the top of this grip right here. So you don't want to lose those two parts. On some receivers, you have the detent and spring for the rear takedown pin as well. Sometimes it's back here underneath the back plate, sometimes it's at the top of this grip. I'm not sure how this particular one's set up. We're about to find out. Take this screw all the way out. There's a screw. There's a safety spring. Safety detent, safety spring, and no, I do not have any holes here for the rear takedown pin, but the safety will slide right out. That's everything for your safety. Okay, I wanted to show y'all something. This is the safety detent spring. This is a takedown pin spring. You see the difference? The safety detent spring is a lot thicker. It's a little bit shorter, a little bit, not much. They're almost the same exact size. One's a little thicker, has a little bit less play to it. It's a lot stiffer for the safety versus the detent with the takedown pin detent spring. Say that 5 times real fast. This is also the detent for your safety. That rides on there like that, pressing up into the receiver, which presses into that detent into this channel. And that's the click that you get whenever you're moving your safety selector back and forth. Okay, for the next step, you're going to need your armorer's wrench, a punch, doesn't matter what size. First thing we're going to do is depress this buffer detent, which is going to release this buffer and spring. Pull that out. Get it out of your way. Put it aside. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to loosen our castle nut and our back plate. So I'm going to move the camera to this side over here. Take your armorer's wrench, slide it over your buffer tube, and we're going to loosen our castle nut, like so. Next, we're going to pull our back plate off a little bit. And if you look closely in here, take this off of here real quick. Spin this around. You can see right here behind this backing plate where that spring is. That's the spring, and in front of that spring is the detent that's pushing up on this pin right here, your rear takedown pin. So what we're going to do, you also got to keep in mind that your buffer detent's right there. So now that I have the backing plate pushed back, like so, I can rotate this buffer tube. But when I do, you want to put your finger over this so that it doesn't fly out because it's under tension right now. So I'm going to rotate this and go ahead and take it all the way off, making sure that that pin or that detent spring doesn't fall out, and this detent for the buffer doesn't fall out. Take that pin out, set it aside. Now your buffer, detent and spring will come out just like that. Now your rear detent should fall out just like that. It all goes in there. Now your pin will fall out as well. Okay, and there you have it. Your lower receiver is completely disassembled.